Here's a walkthrough of completing a survey on the app Survey123. First, you'll want to click on the app to enter it. At the bottom, you will see the Continue Without Signing In. Always click that one. It'll bring you to this page that, if you have the surveys downloaded, you'll see the observation tool and the unsheltered survey. Up at the top, you can see that it says Updates Available 1. Press that, and then press the icon on the right to let it download. Once that's complete, you can hit the arrow in the top left corner to go back to the main page. First, I'm going to go over the unsheltered survey. So click on the survey, and then at the bottom, press Collect. At the top, you can see that it says, please turn on location services on your mobile device. There's another video on our YouTube page on how to turn on the location services. This must be done prior to the start of the count. If your location services are not turned on, we will not be able to pinpoint where the survey is being taken, and it will show that you are in another country. Once that is all set up, you can start the survey. At the top, it will ask for the interviewer's name, full name of individual conducting the survey. First and last name is needed. And then you can insert your agency or group. If you are not part of an organization, you can write individual. The site of the survey is provided there, so you don't need to do anything. The first question is, are you able to survey this person? If you press no, you will be instructed to close the survey and use the observation tool. We'll go over the observation tool later. However, let's go and press yes. Every time you start surveying someone, the approach and introduction is the most important part. Here's a script that you should read verbatim when you introduce yourself to a person. Hello, my name is Elliot. Would you be willing to take a few minutes to answer some questions? I'm helping our community learn more about people experiencing homelessness. Your privacy will be protected and respected. If questions make you feel uncomfortable, you do not have to answer them. If they agree to take the survey, then you can start. Are you living alone or with others? If living unsheltered with others, including a child under 18, choose household. For this example, I'm going to choose household. The next question is, where did you sleep on the night of March 9th? Specific location. This is only if it's different from the site of the survey. For example, if I am surveying over in Mother Waldron Park in Kaka'ako, but the person I'm surveying indicated that they slept at Ala Moana Park the previous night, then I would type in Ala Moana Park. However, if they slept where you are surveying them, no need to write anything. Moving on to the head of household. I would like to note that if an unaccompanied youth is there, they are counted as an adult. So how many adults are in your household? We're going to go with 2 for this example. How many children under 18 are in your household? We'll go with 2 for this example as well. First name, you can enter their first name, then insert their last name, and then you can put their date of birth. The first name, last name, and date of birth are not required. If the date of birth is not said, you can enter their age. The next question is, do you identify as Hispanic? Yes, no. If they say I don't know, you can press unknown. And if they don't want to answer, you can press refused. Please remember that throughout the survey, if someone does not want to answer a question, that is fine. You cannot make anyone answer the question, and you'll simply put refused for the answer. Following that, we'll go with what is your race? On this one, you can select as many options as you would like. I do want to note that if you click Native Hawaiian, 3 more questions will pop up. They read, are you on the wait list for Hawaiian Homelands? Yes, no, unknown, or refused. Are you eligible to apply for Hawaiian Homelands because you are at least 50% Hawaiian? Yes, no, unknown, refused. And do you consent to share your information with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands, yes or no? Following that, you'll have another script to read before asking the questions. It reads, I need to ask everyone the same set of questions with the same language. I'll ask you questions you may think are obvious or sensitive. We ask these questions to gather important information. I don't want to assume anything, and you don't need to answer these questions if they make you feel uncomfortable. What was your sex assigned at birth? Male, female, or refused? Do you identify as intersex? Yes, no, unknown, refused. Just so you know, you'll get a cheat sheet the day of the count to have on your phone and have a little card copy for you to carry around. That will include some definitions, and on there, the definition of intersex will be included. What is your current gender identity? Male, female, transgender, gender nonconforming, other gender, or unknown or refused? Do you think of yourself as straight, gay, lesbian, bisexual, other sexuality, unknown, or refused? Have you ever served in the U.S. Armed Forces? Similar to the Native Hawaiian choice on the race section, if you press yes, an additional question pops up. It asks, were you ever on active duty? The next question is, do you have any pets? Like the Native Hawaiian and military question, if you press yes, 2 more questions pop up. These read, is your pet registered as an emotional support or service animal? And has having a pet prevented you from entering a shelter and or permanent housing? After this section, it asks, how long have you currently been homeless? 1 night or less, 2 to 6 nights, less than 1 month, 1 to 3 months, 3 to 11 months, 1 to 2 years, other, and then there's the unknown and refused option. If you click other, it will ask, if homeless longer than 2 years, please specify. Homelessness in years, excuse me. If you press 1 to 2 years, nothing else will pop up. However, if you press 1 night or less, 2 to 6 nights, less than 1 month, 1 to 3 months, or 3 to 11 months, an additional question will pop up below. It reads, since January 2019, the last 3 years, how many times have you been homeless? 1, 2, 3, 4 times or more, unknown, and then refused. If you press 1, 2, or 3, no additional questions pop up. However, if you press 4, an additional question that asks, if you add all those times together, would they equal 1 year or longer? Yes, no, unknown, or refused. Following that, it reads, did you ever experience homelessness as a youth under the age of 18? If you press no, nothing will pop up. However, if you press yes, an additional question pops up. It reads, if yes, please identify, and you can check all that apply. By yourself, with your family, or they can refuse to answer the question. Moving on, it will ask, are you currently employed, unemployed, retired, or a student? You can check all that apply. However, please do not check employed and unemployed at the same time, as those cancel each other out. If you press employed, a drop-down pops up and asks if it is full-time for wages, part-time for wages, or self-employed. If you press unemployed, It will ask for less than a year, for more than a year, or unable to work. So I've checked unemployed, but I can also check that I'm a student. So both can be there. Moving on, we have another script that we want to read. It reads, the next questions are about health. Please remember, I have to ask everyone the same set of questions. I don't want to assume anything. You don't need to answer these questions if they make you feel uncomfortable. The first question reads, do you have a mental health disability that limits your ability to work or perform activities of daily life? Yes, no, I don't know, or refused. Do you have a physical, developmental, or other disability that limits your ability to work or perform activities of daily life? Yes, no, unknown, refused. Does alcohol or drug use limit your ability to work or perform activities of daily life? Yes, no, unknown, refused. Are you currently living with HIV/AIDS? Yes, no, unknown, refused. The next section has an additional script that you want to read. It says, the next questions are about violence in relationships with an intimate partner. Do you feel comfortable answering these questions? If they say no, you will press no and then move on. If they say yes, 2 additional questions will pop up. The first one reads, has an intimate partner ever hurt you or controlled your freedom to work, spend money, or spend time with family or friends? Yes, no, unknown, refused. And the next one reads, are you experiencing homelessness because you are currently fleeing domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking? That's it for the domestic violence questions. Now moving on, are you experiencing homelessness due to loss of income and or housing due to COVID-19? Yes, no, unknown, refused. The following question has, what are the primary factors that led you to become homeless this time? If you click the box, a bunch of options will pop down. You can check all that apply. I suggest reading them out, and I'll read them out to you right now. Alcohol or drug use, released from rehab, job loss, limited availability of jobs, unable to pay rent, loss of money, SSI or SSDI cutoff, argument with family or friend, family violence, divorce, death in the family, physical illness, mental illness, released from the hospital, disabled, loss of Section 8, foreclosure, eviction, released from jail, or refused or other. You can click as many that are applicable, and then once you've clicked them, you'll want to press the box or this pop-up arrow again. If you are on this and you press the check on the bottom right corner, it will not let you submit the survey because you're not finished. So you want to make sure that you press the box that shows limited availability of jobs, unable to pay rent, and loss of money. If you have any additional notes that you think are important, you can add them there. That covers the first adult who is the head of the household. Since at the beginning I checked that there are 2 adults in the household, now you will scroll back down and see that the other adult, or the person number 2, their survey starts here. So then you would type in their first name, their last name, and their date of birth. If they don't want to give you their date of birth, you can enter their age. Do you identify as Hispanic? Yes. What is your race? Remember, if you click Native Hawaiian, the extra questions pop up. Are you on the wait list for Hawaiian Homelands? Yes. Are you eligible to apply for Hawaiian Homelands because you're at least 50% Hawaiian? Yes. Do you consent to share your information with the Department of Hawaiian Homelands? Yes. The next script, I need to ask everyone the same set of questions with the same language. I will ask you questions you may think are obvious or sensitive. We ask these questions to gather important information. I don't want to assume anything, and you don't need to answer these questions if they make you feel uncomfortable. What was your sex assigned at birth? Do you identify as intersex? What is your current gender identity? Male, female, transgender, gender nonconforming, other gender, or unknown or refused? Do you think of yourself as straight, gay, lesbian, bisexual, other sexuality, unknown, or refused? Have you ever served in the U.S. Armed Forces? And remember, if you press yes, an additional question pops up reading, were you ever on active duty? Do you have any pets? And again, additional questions pop up if you press yes. It asks, is your pet registered as an emotional support or service animal? Has having a pet prevented you from entering a shelter and or permanent housing? How long have you currently been homeless? Remember, for this question, if you choose the 1 night or less, 2 to 6 nights, less than 1 month, 1 to 3 months, or 3 to 11 months, this extra question pops up. It reads, since January 2019, the last 3 years, how many times have you been homeless? 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more times, which will pop up another question reading, if you add all those times together, would they equal 1 year or longer? Moving on, did you ever experience homelessness as a youth under the age of 18? Yes, no, unknown, refused. If you press yes, it will say, if yes, please identify. Check all that apply. By yourself, with your family, or if they don't want to answer the question, press refused. Are you currently employed, unemployed, retired, a student, or refused? Remember, employed and unemployed should not be selected together. If unemployed is selected, it will ask for less than a year, for more than a year, or unable to work. If employed is selected, it will ask full-time for wages, part-time for wages, or self-employed. Just to show you, if you press employed and unemployed, it will ask you both questions. So please be sure not to do that. Moving on, the script reads, the next questions are about health. Please remember, I have to ask everyone the same set of questions. I don't want to assume anything, and you don't need to answer these questions if they make you feel uncomfortable. The first question asks, do you have a mental health disability that limits your ability to work or perform activities of daily life? Do you have a physical, developmental, or other disability that limits your ability to work or perform activities of daily life? Does alcohol or drug use limit your ability to work or perform activities of daily life? Are you currently living with HIV/AIDS? And now the following questions, we get into the domestic violence section again, and you'll want to read, the next questions are about violence in relationships with an intimate partner. Do you feel comfortable answering these questions? Yes. Has an intimate partner ever hurt you or controlled your freedom to work, spend money, or spend time with family or friends? Yes. Are you experiencing homelessness because you are currently fleeing domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking? Are you experiencing homelessness due to loss of income and or housing due to COVID-19? Now we're at the last question for the adult and it reads, what are the primary factors that led you to become homeless this time? Check all that apply. Remember, you can check as many as you need to. Again, if you need to type in any notes, go for it. And then if you move down, you'll see the child. We never ask the child's date of birth, so you just want to find out their age. You'll ask the gender of the child, male, female, transgender, gender nonconforming, other gender, or unknown or refused. Is the child Hispanic? Yes, no, unknown, refused. And then the race of the child, which you can press one or more. Unlike the adult question, if you press Native Hawaiian, additional questions do not pop up. So those are the 4 questions for the first child. Those are the same questions that will be asked for all children. So you can type in their age, their gender, if they are Hispanic, and then their race. Once you finish this part of the survey, you can press the check mark in the bottom right corner. It will say Send Now, Continue this survey, or Save in Outbox. Never press Save in Outbox. If you need to go back to the survey that you just did, press Continue this survey and it brings you right back to here. If for some reason you forget to answer a question and you press the check mark, it will bring you directly to the question that you missed. And then you'll be able to answer that question, press the check mark on the bottom right corner, and then press Send Now to submit the survey. You'll let it load for a second, and it'll bring you right back to this page. If you are moving on to the next person and they are not going to use an observation tool, you can press Collect at the bottom, and it will bring you right back to the survey. If you click that and you realize that you need to go back and do the observational tool, you can press the X in the top left corner, press Close and Lose Changes, and then in the top left corner, press the back arrow. Now you're back on the main page where you can choose the observation tool or the unsheltered survey. Now we're going to go over the observation tool. This should be used if you're unable to survey individuals. For example, if they are sleeping, if they refuse to take the survey, if there's a language barrier, or if you feel uncomfortable approaching the person, you'll use this tool. At the bottom, press Collect, and then it will ask for your name and your agency or group. Remember, if you are not part of an agency or group, just type in individual. Moving on, it says, please answer the following observation tool questions. Why are you using the observation tool? You're unable to enter site, unable to complete survey due to refusal, language, or other barrier, or you do not want to wake sleeping persons. How many adults are in their household? So unaccompanied youth are counted as adult. If there are 1 to 6 adults, you can use this tool. However, if this family or this household has more than 6 adults, you'll need to complete this one and then load another survey and do the rest of those individuals on that survey. So for right now, we're just going to go with 1. How many children under 18 are there in their household? What is this person's age? Under 18, 18 to 24, or 25 older, or not sure? Is this person Hispanic? Yes, no, not sure. What is the person's race? And you can select more than one. However, there are smaller options than there were on the unsheltered survey. You can choose from American Indian or Alaska Native, Asian, Black or African American, Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander, white, other or unknown. What is this person's gender? male, female, transgender, gender nonconforming, other or unknown. Now moving on to the child, it asks, is this child Hispanic? What is this child's race? You can select more than one. Let's go with Asian and Native Hawaiian or other Pacific Islander. What is this child's gender? Male, female, transgender, gender nonconforming, other or unknown. The observation tool can be a bit tricky because it's just based off of what you see. That's okay, and if you aren't sure of your answer, go ahead and press other or unknown. If you are observing someone who is sleeping in a car, in the notes section, type in the make, model, and color of the car. Never type in the license plate number. Once you are finished with that, you can scroll down to the bottom and press the check on the bottom right corner, and then press Send Now. Remember, if you need to go back to this, press Continue this survey, and just never click Save in Outbox. So press Send Now, and it will upload the survey, and then you're back here at the observation tool. If you want to use it again, you can press Collect at the bottom, or you can press the back arrow in the top left corner, and it will bring you back to this page. Remember, when you go to the survey, this is what will pop up, and you always want to press Continue without signing in. From there, you can choose which surveys you would like to use.